Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to stop in for a moment, talk a little bit about love and relationships. Probably one of our favorite topics here on CBiz Media. This is Irene, Indian matchmaker on Netflix. We did an episode a while back on our podcast. Check it out anytime at cbiztvonline.com, and you can see some of the latest episodes and listen in anytime. But that's what I want to talk about today, specifically Miss Nadia. Now, Miss Nadia, uh, Indian matchmaking, let me just give a little history. On at least my idea of Indian matchmaking, it seems like it's something of back in the day, the old ages. It definitely doesn't seem like a current thing people should do, but we know in the uh, our recent history that matchmaking has become a thing. When we think about Indian matchmaking, you think about traditional matchmaking and basically arranged marriages all around. And most people aren't really into that, especially those of the Americanized, I think you would say westernized culture, not really into being match made. But it's a big thing in the Indian culture. Uh, I want to point out on this show, at least, um, all of the people involved, the parents and all of that, come from money. So they have a lot going for them financially. And even the people that are being match made, their kids, they've become self-made or successful themselves. So it's money on all sides. So money is not even the biggest issue when it comes to matchmaking and relationships and marriage in the Indian culture. As far, I guess, as those upper echelon people or those people of high wealth in the Indian culture. So it also makes me think of dating profiles. Like, if they've been doing this for a while, it makes me really think about the dating profiles that we have today. They actually just have them on a piece of paper instead, the person's height, their age, their interests, what they do, the family they come from, the language they speak. All of this is filed on some type of Rolodex or whatnot and on paper. And the matchmaker comes and presents this to each of the families to see, who would you like to see and meet up with. So technically, it's not like, if you've seen some of the old movies in general about arranged marriages, which is not just in Indian cultures, but it's been in many other cultures. It's like, okay, I picked this one guy right here, and this is the guy, and you have to marry him. And a lot of times he seems like creepy or old or weird or disgusting. And nothing wrong with being old, but if you're with a young person, it can be kind of creepy, and the young person doesn't want that. But yeah, that's how you would see arranged marriages. Is there's some creepy arrangement, but with this, it's not as if they're just forced with this one person. They have options. Um, the matchmaker comes and sees them and presents multiple options. They get to go out with the person and see if they're a good fit with each other. So it's not just like throwing two people together and like, hey, you guys just have to be together. We don't care. Just be married. It's a lot like online dating, which I mentioned in the podcast episode we did a while back. It's not archaic as it could seem, especially when you think of traditional matchmaking. Again, matchmaking is a thing now that, hey, I'm not against. It actually looked like it was a lot of fun when the matchmaker came to the family's house with the parents and the daughter in this case, and they would just look at the profiles on paper, not online. But it was just so similar, and they're like, well, comparing this guy to this guy and the different features that they have as far as not just looks, but the different elements of who they are and what she wanted. And it's like shopping for someone to spend the rest of your life with, like going on Amazon. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like, if you like to go on Amazon, some people aren't into Amazon, but wherever you go to shop, it's like doing that. And it just seems a little bit more guaranteed and a little bit safer, just due to the fact that the matchmaker's done a lot of research. They know the family background of this person, and So in a way, it seems a lot safer, and I'm sure the matchmaking scene is probably safer in general too. But also, people been matchmaking for a long time. It's not a new thing. People have been fixing up their friends with each other, their relatives with each other. So matchmaking is definitely not a new thing, but it's just a different system um, when it's a matchmaking in certain cultures or a matchmaking company that you go to. So it's a little bit different, but it's a serious thing. But let me get into Nadia now. Nadia is the standout for me at this time. This is now season 2 if you want to check it out on Netflix, Indian Matchmaker. Um, and she was in season 1 as well. Uh, her and Shaker were kind of a thing and talking, but things were moving a little slow for her. She didn't feel like he really had that romantic interest in her, even though he's a nice guy. He met her family. So they had like a mixer with some of the other Indian people that are a part of their group that are also looking for love. They had a little mixer that she put on, and she met a new guy about 7 years younger, and he kind of um, picked her up off her feet, so to speak. They were making out at the party and just doing some things that Shaker kind of felt funny about because he thought they were together. And so she felt this guy was the one, and she didn't care about the age. Everybody was telling her, no, the age difference is not cool. But she was like, okay, I really feel a connection with this guy. We have the romantic spark. And he finally comes up to meet the family where she lives in LA. And he breaks the news that basically he doesn't feel that spark, even though he's been coming on to her the whole time, making out with her, and finally saying, no, I don't feel that spark. So then she cries, and she's done it before in the episode. And I love that she cries. I love that she's emotional right in front of the camera. She doesn't hold back. I really feel like she's a sensitive person. She's done this more than once. Just the other time she cried was just the fact that she was still single. Single, I think she's 33. So, I'm much older than her. I should be crying, but I'm not crying right now. But, their culture is different as well. And a lot of people are not trying to stay single forever, like some of us in America have stayed single for a while or been divorced and not really looking to be remarried. But in your 30s, it's a poignant time in your life. I definitely wanted to be married in my 30s, and I was trying my best to make that happen. Don't know if trying is always, you may be trying a little too hard, but you got to be careful about that part. But that's her situation. The guy, to me, I feel was kind of wrong. He kind of led her on, but again, he was much younger than her. Maturity was a question, and maybe he's just trying to play the field. He had the swag, he had that vibe. You got to be careful of those guys, the charmers, because you may think that he really likes you, but this is how he charms all of the women. So you may not be anything special. Not to say that was the case. And I do respect the fact that he came to meet her, I think, at lunch or dinner and just told her up front in her face and was man enough to do that. But he definitely was not ready, I think, to be married. Um, and just the whole situation with her and Shaker, the first guy, and then the other guy that made her feel some kind of way. And people talk about that a lot, like, you should really change your expectations because sometimes what feels good isn't always good. Sometimes the more stable, the more quiet, the more settled guy is the better guy for marriage and will stick with you, while the fun guy that might be slash bad boy may end up being not that great for you. It's a tale that's been told many times. But I wish you all the best, Nadia, in your search for love on Indian Matchmaking. I enjoy the show, and we may be having more updates from that show, some other love, dating, relationship shows in the future. But wish you guys all the best. Thanks for listening and hanging out with me. Got any comments? Are you watching Indian Matchmaking? Let me know. And you guys, I'll talk to you later.